The North American Commonwealth is a faction known for its aggressive recruiting tactics and its frequent collapses. This earned it the nickname of the Cockroach. However, its once massive player base is now scattered to the wind and the Commonwealth lying broken. This is the North American Commonwealth and its Eternal Reformation. Our story begins, as these stories often do, with an up-and-coming member of the Terran Empire. This member was known as Padme 14, or normally just Padme. Padme was part of the infantry division, and at some point rose to become head of it. However, after the collapse of the Terran Empire, he went and created his own faction called the Intergalactic Federation, and was formed on October 26, 2020. After seeing the military failures of the Terran Empire, the IGF became a civilian faction, designed to simply produce ship and war material to be purchased by other factions. They essentially became arms dealers, but I'm sure Padme would prefer for me to put it as Lords of War. They first set up on the Keen official servers US1 and later EU1. However, they kept getting wiped and retreated to creative mode servers in order to build up, improve their organisation. They then joined Space War on the 1st of the 12th, 2020, and joined Drift's Mega Alliance, the DCOP. And all was well for a time, with them providing ships and various resources and assets to the other factions on the server. Despite the civilian nature of the NAC, they did play their part in several wars on the server, notably with the faction SOG and also the GDA, or the Green Drone Army or Alliance. It was also on Space Wars that the NAC gained its two most prominent allies, which would stay with them for years to come, these being ICP and RPE. Glaston and DRI constructed their Mega Dreadnought and cruised around the server, obliterating everyone in sight. They engaged them alongside ICP and RPE, however, soon decided to leave the server due to their bases and ships all getting wiped out. There was also a certain amount of drama here based on the restrictions Space Wars had placed on the IGF, as well as printing abilities which Padme disliked. As for Space Wars itself, the server ended in April 2021. While the IGF had been on Space Wars, when they were preparing to leave, they had joined another server known as Snake Eater Gaming. However, this server proved even more restrictive than Space Wars, and Padme and the IGF left due to disliking the rules and restrictions, but also caused a fair fuss and amount and level of drama on the way out. As for FGE, it was later bought by Odyssey when Snake Eater was unable to maintain the server. It continued on into 2021, where the server died due to lack of player base and shut down. And now we go on to Galactic Conquest. I don't actually have any dates for this. All Padme insists is that they were on this server at some point after Snake Eater Gaming, but there is no reference to it in the NAC Discord servers, which is to be expected as the old IGF server had been wiped of all messages, so I can't actually give any dates on that. Galactic Conquest is a server that is still very much around, though people may know it by another name, and that is Conquest Community. But now we shall go on to the next server the IGF joined, which was Imperial Nexus. They joined on the 10th of the 4th, 2021, and it was here where they changed their name to their much more famous name of NAC, or North American Commonwealth. It was at this point where the NAC ran into a certain amount of problems, as a brand new member of the faction stole a ship and crashed it into another faction's base to try and start a war almost immediately upon joining the server and setting up. This led to a diplomatic minefield for the NAC to cautiously navigate and only narrowly avoided a war. It was also at this point where the NAC would suffer one of its very first revolutions. And here to tell you about this revolution is the leader of said revolution himself, Lucky.
So essentially what had happened was that the Marines, right, had a friendly, friendly sort of rivalry with the Navy, and that began to spiral. And I had this, and I started to get quite you could call this selfish, you could call this whatever you want, but I thought this was quite an opportunity for, things to change. So I wanted to change some things I didn't agree with the current system that was in place. And
can you be a little more specific?
so essentially the Navy was taking resources from all the Marine bases.
Right.
Because obviously the Navy needs big ships and Marines don't need that big of stuff, but they were taking a lot to the point where we couldn't do anything and we were essentially sitting ducks. And so the Marines started to build up tensions with the Navy. First, it was just a few back and forth. Then it became something like, okay, you guys need to back off. This is our territory, right? And so eventually we did have concessions to kick the bucket down the road. And then one day, I talked to three important people, Baron, and then the other two I forgot. It's been a while.
Yeah,
but Baron was a
don't worry
key
about
person.
forgetting stuff, because I've got, we're going back 2 years or something.
Yeah. So one of the key members was Baron, and then another person. And Baron was pissed because he got demoted for trying to take resources back. And so we all decided this is it. This is the final straw. So we all got in a VC and we grabbed one of the Navy ship, one of our Marines, and went onto the Navy ship. We separated into different factions, and we crashed like one Navy ship and then made a mobile base and moved out.
Go on.
It was, they weren't particularly fond of that move, to say the least. We had also posted all their coordinates in chat. So, to say the least, they really weren't in the mood to say any more concessions. They declared all out war on us. So, in return, we did the same. And for a while we couldn't really find each other. We were on an ice moon on Titan, so we were just constantly moving the base and everything. So we really didn't have too many engagements other than minor ones. Apparently they found us out but never attacked us because we had a bunch of defenses and they didn't really have much to deal with it. Although there may be conflicting stories with that one.
Well, there always is a bit where the NEC is involved.
Yeah. And then the server crashed. So we're like, we can't really have this war anymore. So let's try and have it on a different server. So 3 servers later, we're still at odds with each other and said, all right, how about this has gone on long enough? How about we just we rejoin back together, right? We had a USSR moment. So we all assimilated together, right? Everyone was back, even Baron. We kicked Baron out for 5 days because he was being annoying, and then we came back. And so everything was back to normal, and then we go on to, I think, another server. And then this was less of a rebellion and more of me fucking around. I got 3 people, and I was basically information broking way before I decided I want a revolution. I had a private base due to information banking, aka giving enemies coordinates, and so I could, I just wanted to do what I want with all the materials. So, and Padme wouldn't let me, so I had essentially traded his private information for money. Yeah, if he finds out about that, he's not going to be particularly happy. But yeah. And then a second revolution happened. It was way smaller. It was just we crashed 2 more ships and then separated, and then we went to a different server. And then after that second revolution, you get this from Pyro, but after that, Pyro started the, what is it called? The IRS.
Yep.
That's the most basic breakdown. It gets complex. I could talk about it for hours.
And to tell you the other side, we have indeed an extract from Padme.
we had our first revolution, which was, I remember at the time, Lucky, or Lukey, depending on how you would prefer to pronounce his username. He was a sergeant at the time for our Marine division, or Marine unit. He was in charge of the ground forces because we had a small contingent. He received his promotion to captain, which at the time was abbreviated to CPT. That's important. Some of his troops noticed CPT and they thought it was me misspelling CPL as corporal. They thought I demoted him, when in reality I promoted him. I just forgot the A. And because of that one little mistake, they took over our ground base and our mobile base at the time, as well as the 3 fighters we had on station at the ground, and created a separate faction. I think it was something along the lines of Lucky's. I can't remember, I apologize. They broke off from us after they thought we demoted him, which was not the case. We did get that cleared up and he rejoined a little while later.
On yet another hand, we have Pyro's account.
Lucky started a whole revolution.
Right.
And it was incredible because he sowed so much distrust that nobody knew what the fuck was happening. I had no clue what was happening. Padme had no clue what was happening, which is not really good when you're a faction leader and you don't know what's happening with a revolution. So he had this like crazy revolution, and then it was, kind of died down after a week. The Lucky side won, hands down. It was, not even, you can't even consider it because NAC fell apart. Command structure went poof. Nobody knew what the hell was happening.
Now, obviously these stories conflict, but honestly, that was one of the problems of the NAC, the fact that their high command and their enlisted player base did conflict massively, as we'll see later on. After leaving Imperial Nexus on the 7th of the 5th, 2021, they joined Oasis PvP, which you may recall from the RPE video, and they did actually join into allyship with RPE on this server, which you may remember from the RPE video, as RPE were active on here for a grand total of a couple of weeks. The NAC were on this an even shorter period as they left the same time that RPE did. The reasoning for this was that they wanted to have an ally on the server to help them if they ever got wiped. So left Oasis on the 22nd of the 4th, 2021. As for Oasis itself, it reformed into many versions and became the Distant Crate server, went through 5 versions of that before ending in September of 2022. NAC moved on to a server called Mods. The same mods with the 500 people player base that we all know and love today. I really couldn't dig up much info other than that the NAC joined on the 8th of the 5th, 2021, left on the 18th of the 5th, 2021, and simply left the server because limits. And the fact that Padme had not been granted admin like he had requested, spending a grand total of 10 days on that server before leaving. Actually, the NAC were very annoyed that they couldn't find a decent server to play on, so decided we'll create our own. And this was the birth of Frontlines PvP, which was an NAC affiliated and ran server where with ground combat only, and that they permitted other factions to play on. This server was created on the 23rd of the 5th, 2021, and on this server, the NAC mainly used for training against each other, fighting small wars, and indeed had a war with RNE on the 6th of the 6th, 2021. This server was not to last much longer, however, and closed down on the 18th of the 6th, 2021, due to unknown circumstances. It was not documented. I can only assume that whoever paid or maintained the server decided to stop, leaving the NAC with nothing to do. And now we move on to Cosmic, a server, again, some of you may be familiar with. Now, the NAC joined this server on the 2nd of the 7th, 2021, not long after the closure of Frontlines PvP. It is also worthy of note that NAC did engage RNE due to drifts in fighting. However, they didn't partake in much fighting as that was done by WCO, so their role was limited. However, they left this server fairly quickly due to toxicity, the admin being homophobic, and NAC not wanting to put up with an admin who had drastically different morals than their own. As for Cosmic itself, the server closed on July 2022. The server is still in the process of being remade into a minigame server, yet progress is slow and I personally doubt it will ever happen. It is at this point that the NAC returned to Galactic Conquest on the 19th of the 7th, 2021, at which point they were immediately hunted down by a faction known as the Fallen Order, who you may remember was active in the early days of Space Engineers beta servers. The reasoning for the Fallen Order's witch hunt against the NAC was due to bounties carried over from Oasis PvP. However, the NAC were persistent and did manage to evade being wiped until approximately a month later, where they left the server on the 17th of the 8th, 2021. And as I said earlier, Galactic Conquest is still active under the name Conquest Community. And now we move on to a server where the NAC's power is actually shown. They joined Ascendant PvP, also known as Ascendant Conflict, 8th of the 9th, 2021. You will hear Padme's account of this now.
This one was our major bump. We started off with a few people. We then took to Reddit and like Xbox group posts.
Yeah, is this when you started the aggressive recruitment campaign for which you are famous for?
Yes, it was.
Because literally,
Don't
you do
quote me on
realise
this one
that's
again.
like how 90% of the community knows you, and that every time you go on Reddit, there's one there.
Yeah, so eventually, after a while, we had so many people but no one to fight, and we had this massive fleet at the time.
Yeah.
If you're looking for personnel numbers, we had multiple Discords at one time. We actually had 8 NAC servers on the go, just to divide up everything and keep it a little bit more organized, which made it more chaotic. That was another thing I like to do.
Yeah.
Make everything unnecessarily complicated.
Yeah, boy do we hate that about you sometimes.
Oh yeah, and I'll admit it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so back to Ascendant Conflict. Like I said, this was our major moment. At that time, we had over about 140-ish people at the time. Major recruitment campaign, and that was not accounting for anyone who left.
Yeah.
This was our peak number. Then we had to introduce a smaller, or at least a startup PvP faction to actually fight, because things were getting boring just patrolling around endless space. Who wants to do that? We were starting to do war games and just go trigger happy on our own ships just because we were bored. Then we went, you know what, let's find a common enemy. We got one of our officers, who I think it was Whiskey. They created a separate faction. It was the SRA, not to be confused with the SRA turning to IRS from the previous videos.
Yeah.
We gave them some designs because Buddy was relatively new, but he was a good leader. We said, go ham, just fight us. We're not going to wipe each other's main bases, but everything else, declare an attack before, and we're good to go.
Yeah.
And that was our first all-out major war, not counting like other PvP servers. This one was actually rather nice, rather fun.
Yeah.
Honestly, one of my favorite servers.
The NAC on this server held a non-aggression pact with a faction known as GNR. When this pact was violated by a GNR warship flying in an out-of-bounds area, diplomatic relations broke down and Padme declared war on the 14th of the 9th, 2021. After a week of very heavy fighting, the NAC managed to obtain victory on the 20th of the 9th, 2021. It was not to last, however, as a week and a few days later, a faction known as 8 attacked NAC and war broke out. Now, the faction 8 was the server owner faction, and while reports are unclear, there was a few days of heavy fighting, and while the winner is unclear, this war led to NAC taking a break from the server. So I think we can chalk this up to a definite NAC loss. Anyway, after Ascendant Conflict, or whenever this faction was active, they full-on split from the NAC and went their own way. I have not heard hide or heard from Thick. Whether or not they are still in existence, I do not know. Anyway, despite the NAC's break from Ascendant Conflict on the 8th of the 10th, 2021, they soon left the server on the 19th of the 11th, 2021. As for Ascendant Conflict, I couldn't actually find a Discord server of it, nor could anyone within the community that I had contact with, such as Flair and Gladstone. Therefore, I have no idea when it closed down, but it's not a known server anymore, so all I can guess is it closed down probably not long after that. To the next server, which is Battle for Soul, which they joined as on the 12th of the 1st, 2022. The NAC built up on the server for approximately a month, and then the server died with no warning and was plagued with frequent technical issues, so the NAC left this server when it died. Now, it's at this point where things start to get both interesting and very hazy. The server that NAC went to next is known to be a production protocol. When they joined, I don't actually know, but I'm going to chalk it up to immediately after Battle of the Souls, so 22nd of the 2nd, 2022. Now, upon joining the server, they immediately had early problems with a faction called CIC, which did lead to a bit of tension early on. Further tension was then caused by the return of Shayna, the leader of the Terran Empire. Now, due to the prominent member of NAC's High Command, Charmicity Pyro, being away, Padme appointed Shayna to his position, and Shayna used this position to then reform part of the Terran Empire using some of his old members. This then Terran Empire merged with NAC to become North American Union. However, the NAU only lasted 4 days, as Pyro logged on, immediately saw what was going on, and notified Padme to Shayna's crimes. At which point Shayna went offline and fled from the situation like the coward he is, and Padme immediately reversed the decision of the North American Union, and it once again became NAC. Now, as this situation only happened over 4 days or so, I was not aware of it for the Terran Empire video, hence why it is not present. NAC discourse aside, we return to their actions on Production Protocol, at which point their activity and their war effort surged, fighting battles which saw extensive use of the Battlefield class destroyer, and NAC procured a large fleet of warships. Yet this was not to last, as this fleet and their bases were destroyed due to win a bounty on their head, and they kept getting spawn killed. Now this is where their time on Production Protocol comes to an end. I can't give an exact date because I don't have one. It was never mentioned in the NAC Discord, so I apologise profusely for that. As for Production Protocol itself, that server is still going. Now we come to Storms of Capella. First we shall hear Padme's.
Yeah, Storms of Capella, there it was. So, that one went down after about a month because I think, the host actually got into medical issues and had to be away from his computer, couldn't pay, and whatever happened. So that went down after a while, after we started to just get up and running again. It's a common theme with us. We are a bad omen.
Now we come to Engineers of Capella, with the NAC set up being ran by Pyro and Padme jointly on the 19th of the 5th, 2022. However, in a surprising event that the NAC command called the Rapture, half the active naval members and a good chunk of the infantry and so on pulled away under the leadership of Pyro and created a new faction to fight the NAC, a sort of FRA Part 2, which was also known as the Sino-Russian Alliance before it was reformed into the IRS. The NAC call this event the Rapture. I prefer to call it as pulling a Laconia. The NAC promptly declared war on their former members for their betrayal, and on the new server they began their bloody conflict.
And starting out, it was loads of fun. Padme trying to control a lot, but they never really were able to build up like the IRS. And the IRS at this point, we had everything down pat. We've been doing this for at least a month-ish, and we were like, okay, we know how to print ships. We got all this done, so we started just jacking out ships like there was no before.
Yeah.
And we got to around 60 ships, and I created a storage system, started shoving them in that. And Padme's like, well, this isn't fair. We're going to get other factions to help us fight you.
These factions were WCO, ICP, and IPE, in that order. WCO began their conflict against the IRS and had a lot of initial successes, managing to win a few battles, despite their members crashing out as soon as their ship jumped from one place to another, and an interesting event in one conflict where their turrets were unable to fire due to Keen's copy target book. WCO still managed to win this battle by simply turning on the turret's manual fire mode. WCO left the server due to performance not being good enough to support their massive warship. The IRS's attention was then diverted back to the NAC and then gave them a battle above Triton. The NAC promptly sent a distress call to ICP, who had only recently joined. However, the ICP couldn't provide much help, having only just joined, but managed to send one corvette piloted by Ran. ICP arrived as most of the IS fleet were jumping away, the battle being won, but the ICP engaged to convey some light damage before their corvette was knocked out of the fight. The next major engagement came when the ICP located IRS's main base on Triton, and after careful consideration of the rules noticed that they could technically destroy anything outside of a 1 kilometer radius of the base without being constituted an attack or a battle or an offline raid. Therefore, they flew 3 corvettes into orbit and shelled the tanks and land vehicles that were outside the 1 kilometer radius of the base. IRS members soon logged on and realised what was going on and brought a corvette down from orbit fitted with railgun turrets and blasted one of the corvettes out of the sky. The other 2 corvettes fled the battle.
Oh, there's a ship in the air. Oh shit, behind us, behind us, behind us, behind us, behind us. Fuck, run, 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 I've just been disabled. I've just been fully disabled.
No.
They got my reactor. I'm down. Guys, I'm dead in the water.
I'll just hit that shit from the back. I'll just slam fish from the back.
Oh, they got my reactor straight away. Good on them.
The NAC were a little annoyed at the ICP's lack of help with them, yet the ICP had soon realised that they could not support the NAC in the Theatre of War very well as their fleet was not up and running. So they began supplying them with resources which they had a lot of in abundance. The ICP in total managed to deliver 40,000 uranium and around 50,000 of each ammo type to the NAC main base. However, this did lead to highlight a gigantic problem of the NAC, which is lack of communication. As whenever Ran of the ICP wanted to deliver them, Padme vetoed the delivery, saying that the members online were not clear to know. Eventually, Ran grew tired of this and went anyway, flying to the main base in a shuttle with the first delivery with half the resources. This was enough to keep the NAC fleet fueled and armed for at least a month. Upon arrival at the main base, the 2 enlisted members were highly confused at Ran's arrival, but allowed him access and permitted to drop off the resources, and were very impressed with his generosity. This also gained Ran a tour of the main base, which would turn out to be a rather big mistake later. I've went into a bit more detail purely because this highlights a lot of the problems with NEC as a faction, in the sense that their communication between the enlisted and the higher-ups, and even between higher-ups, was completely terrible. Not long after, 2 of the ICP members split off, created their own faction, IMC, and promptly declared war. The ICP were furious and declared war back, and soon located the IMC base. The NAC lended support to the IMC's cause, and later entered into a tenuous alliance with them. The ICP, however, were mustering forces at a nearby forward base, mobilizing an entire fleet of 2 corvettes, 3 destroyers, and a light cruiser. The IMC, however, had 1 heavily armoured and armed corvette defending their base. Padme heavy interest in joining in on the IMC side to make it a fair fight. However, ICP regarded it as a strictly internal matter, and a response to Padme from Ran, who was coordinating the battle, was roughly this.
Why don't you mind your own fucking business?
And when Padme insisted on trying to join the battle anyway, Ran relayed it to Dex, who proceeded to give Padme a severe dressing down, as well as Dex conveying the threat that the ICP might turn on the NAC entirely if they saw any NAC warships in the immediate vicinity of the IMC base. Padme immediately withdrew all NAC support to the IMC, but did supervise the fight as admin, ICP generally ignored. With the IMC dealt with and witch hunted off the server, the relationship between NAC and ICP continued to sour as the NAC were denied access to construct an embassy at the ICP city of Iacon due to the former action of trying to ally with IMC. This relationship, which had existed since Space Wars, was then shattered by the IRS fully vassalizing the NAC with Padme's enabling, and it essentially became a satellite faction of the IRS.
This is a good deal for Britain. A good deal. A good deal. This is a good deal for Britain. This is a good deal. This is good, G-O-O-D-D-E-A-L, for Britain. This is a good deal. Good deal for Britain. This is a good deal.
At which point, the entire enlisted and most of the officers complained to Padme and insisted that he step down as leader and Viking, the NAC's second-in-command, who was well-liked, take over command. Viking ironically put down the revolution, and abided by Padme's decision as the leader. The ICP, of course, were absolutely livid at this betrayal and immediately began plotting the downfall of both factions, sending spies into the discords of both the NAC and the IRS with this intent to sow discourse and spy on the factions. Furthermore, this later transpired that the NAC had also begun spying on the IRS a lot earlier, so much so that the head of the IRS security division was in fact an NAC spy. However, despite the skill in espionage, the NAC military operations fell into disrepair as they were forced to supply the IRS with war material due to their vacillation. This left the IRS to turn their attention to the ICP bases on Pertown. Fort Heracles was the first target, and the ICP dug in with various defences, assisted by the NAC, who sent down a few members to help that were disenfranchised with both NAC and IRS. A good number of tanks, 2 corvettes, and several fighters defended Fort Heracles. The IRS responded by buying a battlecruiser and using this as justification to spawn a base only 5 kilometers from the fort. The ICP had not been made aware that they could buy bases through the service ship purchasing system, so when the ICP scouts saw an entire base being spawned in, regarded it as blatantly cheating. Furthermore, IRS members with jetpack hydromanned through the base, grinding down various bits of the interior, causing chaos, and flew through the defences with admin enabled before the battle commenced. When the battle started, the IRS threw full infantry force at the ICP, and during the battle the IRS managed to circumvent the issues of tanks by accidentally on purpose dropping a corvette on them. Overall, the IRS won this battle but lost several ships, while the ICP fort was razed to the ground and all forces were destroyed. Furthermore, due to the projector being left on in the ICP fighters by accident, Pyro ruled this as rule breaking and deleted the ICP city of Iacon as a punishment. When the ICP pointed out the IRS had also cheated, it was ruled lawful by Pyro, and they received no punishment whatsoever. It should be noted as well that within the server rules, main bases were allowed a safe zone, and as Iacon had been classified a main base and was very valuable to the ICP, it was classified as their main base. So when Pyro deleted it, their safe zone defending it was gone as well. Pyro then informed the ICP that they were not allowed to have another safe zone or another main base entirely, which the ICP protested, as did most of the other players on the server, including members of the IRS, as well as solos who were brought in for advice such as Flair and Gladstone. The NAC proceeded to make no comment on it whatsoever. This just goes to highlight how corrupt the IRS was becoming, and how quickly it was going to fall apart. But then again, it was originally NAC. The IRS then turned to the second ICP fort, Fort Mountbatten. Grand Admiral Deck was ready, however, and had constructed various new state-of-the-art tanks and gunships, and declared on the IRS base when the IRS declared on Mountbatten. The IRS were not expecting the ICP to be so aggressive, so reinforced the base, brought in more ships, and rigged a bridge to explode that was the only way to the base. The ICP Naval Command was slightly panicked at Deck's aggressiveness, but reassured when Dex informed them they had equipment to fight with. However, on getting to the base, they were disheartened to see World War II era style craft, which Dex was famous for building, and famous for also being subpar. The plan on both sides was really just trek across the desert and destroy each other's bases.
No, on me too. They're not kidding anymore. They aren't playing any of these games. That's a large Gridge Tucker. That thing's about to shoot me down like there's nobody.
Oh my goodness, it's got railguns as well.
We were not prepared for this attack.
Oh fuck.
I'm out of commission. It took the entire left side of my right side of my thing out.
I'm still going. I'm still going. I'm trying to run away, but I'm also shooting at them.
I am out
Oh,
of
this
commission.
tank is
I
definitely
can't do
doing pretty
anything.
well.
Can you do anything? Because I got shot like twice and now I'm dead.
Come on, Crisper, take it on. You can do it.
Oh,
I
you
fail
can
while
do
I'm
it.
literally running away.
Oh my gosh, they have a railgun turret. How many people
Yeah.
are in that sucker?
Oh my goodness, I think pride becomes before a fall, because I may have just flipped. I think I'm engaging 2 targets at once here, because there's another fighter jet up there.
Fuck. This was a failed attack. You cannot tell me otherwise. This was completely failed. We still go big.
Well, I am.
I'm making my way to their base.
I'm in my fucking jetpack with a rifle and a rocket launcher, so...
Oh my goodness, I just hit him with an assault cannon. Let's go.
What's the coordinate ship dock?
That's probably the...
Oh my goodness, Crispin, did you just take that out? Because actually it
what
looks
out?
like it's falling out the sky.
I don't think it is. I don't think he did.
Oh no, it's coming back towards me, it's coming back towards me.
Right, I hate to burst everyone's bubble, but the Apollo can't jump back.
I am slipped my tank.
Lovely. I'm currently running away. With the help of one of their railguns. Oh my goodness, they're chasing after me.
Wait, so are we running away, or what are we doing?
Well,
Oh, I can't.
I have literally no power. I'm about to run out of power in a second. Oh, I passed one of their down fighters as well, which I've just destroyed. But one of their mega gunships is trying to chase after me and failing miserably.
Hold on.
On my way to Perth,
Okay.
I'm gonna call
Oh,
her.
funny story.
coming.
They had 4 railgun turrets with 4 railguns on each.
Yeah, no, they have a ton of assault cannons on that as well. Oh my goodness.
There's artillery. There's only artillery.
I think I may be out the fight. I may be out the fight. My tank has learned to fly. My tank has learned to fly. I'm flipped. I'm flipped.
Boys and girls, we have fucked up so badly.
Yeah, I died. However, 90% of the ICP forces didn't even make it halfway there due to the tanks toppling over as they were top heavy, or simply being shelled and destroyed by IRS corvettes, leading to a general ICP anger at Dex as they had just lost their last bastion on Pertam.
Given the information we had yesterday when we planned it, all we were expecting to go up against was that black building in the center.
However, I did tell you he had enough stuff around the planet.
That we know of. The information we had of what was available on Pertnam changed. Literally.
Dex, you can try and
had
cover
that stuff
yourself
all over
all
the
you.
planet.
Dex, you can try and cover yourself all you want, but you still can't cover up the fact that this was very bad planning with terrible stuff. We did very well with what we had, but it was still a bit of a shit show.
So, should I not bring the Archangel in?
My intel was based off an ally who's admin. That's all
Do not take the Archangel into atmosphere now.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, okay.
Fire! Fuck.
I'm bringing her back to Farpoint.
No one can make up their mind whether we're allowed to take corvettes.
I would say no because it'd be breaking the rules about bringing in reinforcements from far
We
away.
used to be-
I don't think that is a good... We
Fox,
did that.
if you want to break the server rules, go ahead. I'm
A
just
bit
having
rich
one-
coming from you, Dex, just saying.
Rana, where's your fighters?
They would be in a battle if you'd given us a little more warning, and I wasn't away. I've been away for 3 days, remember? If I hadn't been away, I could have literally printed off a ton of Ares for you, had you not had that little spat about Ares.
But what's Naval been doing? All I know is that it's been me and one other person completely building up infantry. We put in the work, we built fighters, we built a base.
Excuse me, you just said, what have Naval be doing? We have a whole
And
fleet
all-
ready to go.
All you guys have been doing has been shitting on it and not contributing. How about
Excuse
stick
me,
to your own?
we have a whole fleet, thank you very much.
Okay, and you're not
Also,
using
you
it.
deny help.
We
a lot.
can't use it because you wouldn't let us build anything to come down there with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Use it
We
in
good.
space.
As for resources,
Use
we
it.
do shit.
Use it in space. Look, we built our own fighters, we built our own tanks, and we're using them. You guys build shit.
That got you
and
far.
use it.
Now, I'm sure you're all wondering at this point, why am I telling you this? Why am I focusing on the ICP and the IRS conflict? What's going on with NAC? First thing,
NAC throughout this conflict were just sitting back and kind of watching the fireworks and not really doing anything. Secondly, IRS is a splinter of NAC, so I'm covering it as well as the other splinter groups of NAC. And finally, because I am drawing two big comparisons. First is Padme and Dex. Dex has always been the more reasonable and smarter of the two, and of course here he is shown to be particularly unreasonable. Yet from all accounts, Padme at this stage was worse. Much worse. So it's easy to see how the NAC would quickly swap from server to server with attitudes like this. Secondly, the IRS is basically just the NAC without Padme and with most of the competent players and a competent high command, and this is what they are doing. Admittedly, the ICP infantry is not its strongest ability, and it is very much IRS's strongest ability, I would say. But even so, you have got very competent players on both sides fighting, and even in a lag test, the IRS are coming out on top. On the 30th of the 9th, 2022, RPE declared on NAC's Earth base. This battle commenced on the 3rd of the 10th, 2022, and with little more than a pseudo battle as the RPE were unable to get their forces to the NAC base, leading to a default win for the NAC. NAC located one of ICP's production bases, Base 31, which produced hydrogen and was responsible for most of the fuel of the ICP fleet. It had been left unpowered, and due to server rules, any unpowered base could be offlined or destroyed, so Viking took some ships and destroyed it. However, this failed to harm the ICP in any way, as most of their ships were already fully fueled, and 60% of the hydrogen produced from that base had been moved into Valhalla Fleet Station, which had more than enough capacity to store it. The only reason the NAC managed to even destroy this base because it was unpowered was because the ICP had forgotten of its existence. This constant hostilities and battles led to the Battle of Bad Wolf. Bad Wolf Base was an installation long abandoned after the IMC conflict, due to the IMC had leaked its location in the general chat. Yet the ICP reclaimed it, brought it online and reinforced it with defences, then mustered their entire fleet and everyone they could manage. RPE joined with one Spartacus cruiser, with its members acting as gunners on the ICP cruisers, while the Knights of the Seraph, a separate ICP splinter group, joined with a small fleet of destroyers. Despite having 3 factions versus 1, the IRS Navy significantly outnumbered and outgunned the ICP Navy. The battle ended with Bad Wolf Base being completely destroyed, yet at a great cost to the IRS, as their navy was severely crippled. The only way the IRS had won the battle was by ramming their ships into the asteroid due to being unable to get past the Excalibur-class heavy cruisers. The ICP and RPE losses were very light in comparison, with RPE only losing their one Spartacus-class cruiser, while the ICP only lost 2 destroyers, with the rest ships taking moderate damage yet were fully repaired a week later. The IRS lost 5 destroyers, 4 heavy cruisers, 2 frigates and 1 battle cruiser. The ICP and RPE immediately chose to celebrate, in the only way they can: memes. However, the IRS were quick to retaliate, claiming victory as they had destroyed the base. The ICP congratulated them on their meagre reward. After the Battle of Bad Wolf, Padme and Ran got into a bit of a spat. I don't actually remember what we were fighting over because it was that long ago. Point is, we got into a bit of a fight, probably over Bad Wolf, I don't really remember. but it led to Padme getting blacklisted as a diplomat to the ICP, which annoyed him to the point that he threatened to admin abuse, which was immediately reported to Pyro and Padme got an official warning. The ICP insisted that all negotiations through the NAC's diplomatic channel would be conducted by Viking, as they considered him the true leader of the NAC rather than Padme, which infuriated him to no end. With the Battle of Babel over, both sides disagreeing on who won, the NAC then requested to take over battles while the IRS retreated into seclusion to go upgrade their navy. The next battle undertaken with NAC was the Battle of Farpoint Station. It was also known as the battle which broke the NAC. Despite the NAC keeping their ICP main bases under heavy surveillance, they failed to realise that the ICP had completely repaired their fleet since battle, as well as swapped out their 2 battlecruisers for 3 heavy cruisers, which meant that the total fleet standing at Farpoint Station consisted of 6 heavy cruisers commanded by ICP and RPE members, as well as 1 light cruiser and 1 destroyer. The NAC forces consisted of the Aegis prototype cruiser, 2 conventional cruisers, as well as 2 Angravado class destroyers and 1 Cinnabar class corvette. The ICP acquired this information ahead of time via their spies and were very well prepared for the battle.
I'm ready to lock weapons on him. As soon as he gets into range, I'm locking weapons.
Should be on point by the time he's in range.
Yep, that's perfect. Remember how to copy target and that?
Yeah.
All 3 other cruisers, keep an eye out. We're not sending everybody. Who just got a direct railgun shot?
Warspite.
Good.
We got a light cruiser.
Orion class light cruiser spotted. 4.75 Ks out.
I see.
Alright, me and Kaz will handle that cruiser.
Direct hit.
Yeah, the Orion light class.
Yep.
Light class. It's ass. Aim for its bridge.
Destroyer, get into position facing the Aegis.
He's just in range, I see him.
If the Orient class target its bridge, it's right up in the front. Shouldn't be hard to miss.
Me and Kaz can go take care of that Orion.
He's jumping. Aegis is jumping.
Where's the camera?
If Agent...
Try on some arc to me in Ranaghast side.
Guys, why is this Ohio does not have a camera?
It does have a camera.
No, I don't have access to a camera.
Actually, this game pretty close. I don't like that.
Good shot.
I set it up.
No, I don't have it.
Also, Excalibur just landed every turret and the entire front straight on the Aegis.
Got it. It's getting.
It's jumped.
Oh, it's behind us.
Spin up.
It's about... Chaos, that's me and you. That's me,
right.
Olympian, turn towards it. That'd be banner.
All 3 other cruisers. All 3 other cruisers. All 3 other cruisers engage the Aegis. The other cruisers that are in position to defeat the Orion, get ready to fight the Orion.
The light cruiser is closer.
Alright, Chaos, you're at that. We'll go with
No, Executor, Olympian, Warlock engage the Aegis. Us 3 are already in position to fight the Orion. If you leave the Aegis, fight the Aegis together.
Okay, guys, Ohio does not have a camera.
Right, Orion's jumping too. Orion's jumping too. Orion is jumping
too. Alright, we gotta prepare for that one.
Orion.
He just wastes his entire.
Yeah, he got closer. Yeah, he got closer.
He just wasted his entire vote. Yeah, he also just wasted his entire body, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Someone just hit him, though.
Somebody watch that Orient. Back.
Right, he's...
Oh, the Orion's gone. The Orion's gone.
The Orion jumped further.
Oh my god.
Oh, he jumped? Oh.
Yeah, at least 45 kilometers.
Probably trying to regroup.
These guys are so...
They're just taking volleys and jumping away.
Oh, Aegis is turning...
Aegis is running away.
They're trying to get us to waste our ammo.
Well, guys, the ships are loaded with 500 shells per and 100 rail. We've got the ammo.
I think you jumped next to Aegis.
I think they're going to regroup and come into force, in which case all the other cruisers will relocate.
Aegis turning around, it's coming
if
towards
they do
us.
that, we'll be in good advantage.
What's turning around? What's going towards us?
Me, Hawk, and Rana. The Aegis is coming towards us. Who's Hawk, by the way?
Very far
Me.
away.
No,
You're
James.
James Yearhawk?
Yes, I changed my gamer tag recently, and the server saved me as this, so I can't really.
I didn't know your original gamer tag, but it's.
Do you want another cruiser to come and help you against the other ships? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Right, Excalibur is repositioning. I want the Executioner and the Warspite to remain in previous position in case they try to come around us.
They're coming straight for us, I think.
They're not.
Yeah.
He's turning around. He's turning in all kinds of directions. He's not even coming towards us. In fact, he's getting further away from us.
I'm gonna go get. Relative to where we're all facing, I'm gonna hide under the asteroid, ready to support both sides if need be.
Yeah, same. I'm gonna hug this because instead of trying to really make us waste our shots on them or something.
You say that. Two cruisers fired a full volley and all of them connected with the Aegis. The Aegis has got to be hurting from about 16 railgun impact.
Oh, it did? It actually connected? Oh, wow.
All of them. All three of my turrets, plus the main 6 guns.
Hey, you want me, Olympian, to go dark on antenna to see what they do to react? What if my antenna is going dark?
No. Our antenna's only set to like 2 kilometers. 2 kilometers.
Maybe they'll push a premature engagement with them thinking one of us is gone.
No, our antenna's only set to 1,000. They can't see our antennas from where they are. You're trying to bait us, so don't charge in. I'm only moving into a position where I can support if need be. Yeah, he just jumped.
Yeah.
I think he went behind us again.
He went at least
behind
10
us again.
kilometers.
Ship. There's a ship behind us again, facing the direction that I was facing. was facing before.
Okay.
Turn around.
Not engaged. Turn to face us.
Did he drop something off? Was he trying to?
Maybe he's dropping off a guided missile.
No, those are asteroids.
Wait, no, there's no way. You can't
Yeah.
drop something and go.
What we're trying to do? They tried to fight me and Chris with guided missiles, or cruise missiles.
Those are IRS. I don't know if they would be willing to give NEC their guided missiles. Or, well, they're not even guided
There's
missiles.
no way to
Cruise
fire
missiles.
that far away without it.
Like 4 of them at the NAC ground base when we did the Operation Daylight.
They're too afraid to actually push us. They don't.
They're not attacking. They're not definitely.
They know. Well, if they come headfirst against us, 6 cruisers will drop out on top of them and hammer the fuck out. They know they can't.
Oh yeah.
The Aegis doesn't stand up against 2 heavy cruisers because they can only target one of them at a time, and they've got we've got 120 guns between 2 cruisers. They've got 75, 1 back cruiser. The Aegis cannot.
Well, I think that's one with
two.
Oh, look here.
An asteroid in front of me. I don't see anything else. Check below us though, guys, and above us. Don't forget that.
Rana, keep my railgun on the Olympian moving. I'm just trying to move it back into place.
You know, while you guys are looking down, I'm gonna look down in case anything. So I'm gonna look down.
Give me OCD.
They only have 7 online.
Yeah, but they are getting more ships. That means bit by bit. I mean, yes, we've just caused some serious damage to the Aegis.
They're working on it.
Wait, we're?
What?
Then that means there's at least 2 people on that ship.
They're working on it.
But yeah,
they're working on it because they took 32 shots from railguns. Oh, bullshit.
Still 7 online. They could have 3 on the Aegis, 2, or 4 on Aegis, 2.
The Excalibur has 6 front railguns and 9 turrets.
Actually, if you're counting the railgun turrets, it's got a bit more than 6.
No, it's 6 front, 9 turreted. 3 lots of 3 in the turret, and 6 in the front. It's 15
oh my god,
per
I'm
ship.
Fireball. I'm looking for the turret.
It's 15 per ship, so there's 6 ships. So there's what 90 turrets, 90
Also,
railguns in this
guys. Okay, guys, is there enough? There should be some resources in the cruiser, or in the store that allows me to move the camera because this thing has no camera on it at all.
We're not allowed to make repairs in battle.
Quickly, it does have a camera. Just go. So it should.
No, like it doesn't have a camera.
As in, it wasn't put on the front
I
itself.
don't see it.
It should be between the two front antennas.
I'm losing oxygen. Why am I losing oxygen?
Like, what's the actual name of the camera? Because I don't see it here.
It should just be camera.
Yeah. So it's
No,
just
I don't
camera.
see it. It's on list.
Alright,
My camera got destroyed.
If this is going on, I'm gonna use the back room, lab room.
How does your camera get destroyed, Chris?
The camera's not installed on this thing.
When the Aegis got super close, it started firing at me and the...
Hey Viking, what's up?
NAC's unprepared because Padme made this way too early.
Right.
Is ICP okay if NAC withdraws and we recall our attack announcement and plan this for some time where NAC can actually put up a decent fight for you guys?
So, just to clarify a second, you are surrendering?
Yes, because I want to do
Okay.
this Friday, as you know. I'm talking to you, see if that's okay. I'm gonna
Yeah.
tell the guys.
Wait,
BC,
Friday.
We might. I wanted to do it Friday when we could get more people and more ships out, but Padme had to speed up the timeline.
Right. Yeah, well that's exactly why you shouldn't be in leadership, you should be, but there we go.
Yeah, well, you and I both know that. So I'm gonna tell the guys on my side we're going to surrender, take the ships back, and we're gonna try this at a time when it's easier for NAC to actually do something.
Okay.
Thank you guys for being cooperative. I'm sorry to waste your guys' time.
No worries, no worries.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll see you Friday. They've surrendered. They've surrendered.
Wait, you fucking
Yeah.
We broke the Aegis, they cried.
Wait, what?
They surrendered.
No way, they surrendered?
Wait, what? Let me look at announcements real quick.
I'm looking at. I'm putting in that.
What if we don't accept the surrender? Force you to keep it
Well, if we don't accept their surrender, they're gonna not come back, and we're gonna have to sit here for 5 hours, and then they'd be able to attack.
ICP claim victory over NAC. They surrender.
Hold on, wait a sec. Hold on. Did we just stay right here? Yeah, but we won.
They looked at 6 Excaliburs and went no.
Okay, can you
understand how this works?
what happened?
They
Shadow. They quit.
Rat's pretty salty. Guys, Rat's pretty salty, guys. What do you guys think about this?
Where's he salty?
Pretty salty.
I can't say.
Where's he been salty?
He's been salty dead.
Communication issues.
Said that.
They had way more things to do than I thought they would.
Okay, let me explain what happened. Okay, this is actually down to Padme, because Padme just made the announcement without consulting anyone, as usual, so they had to scramble to get their ships, some of their ships ready. So, like, they thought because we were weakened, we'd be all, like, they would have some stuff ready, but they didn't, so they kind of got there thinking, saw our 6 heavy cruisers and thought, oh fuck, we're outclassed here, and they basically retreated and figured out what to do, and we're just like, right, okay, we're gonna have to surrender. Due to the humiliating surrender of the NAC, the ICP and RPE couldn't resist in taking the piss. It later transpired that the NAC had a second fleet prepared for battle at a second base, but had actually forgotten it was there at the time. They discovered this 5 minutes after they surrendered. Again, breakdown in communication. Padme was highly amused at the NAC failure despite it being mainly his fault. After this, the NAC combat died down and there was little conflict whatsoever on server. The ICP, despite their victory, was still seeking the downfall of both the IRS and the NAC and sought to ignite tension. They began sowing discord forth between some of their members, trying to persuade them to attack the IRS. Most of these cunning, convoluted plans failed, leading the ICP to turn to Lucky, who was the head of a faction on the server called the HOA, and had pirated several NAC vessels throughout the course of the conflict without them noticing. This gave Ran of the ICP a few ideas, which later transpired into a very cunning plan.
I've got a plan so cunning you could put a tail on it and call it a weasel.
The ICP investigated the NAC base using the intel that Ran had gathered from when he was given a tour of the base. They then acquired a troop transport that had been left outside the perimeter of the base and was therefore fair game. The ICP then used this troop transport to fly into the perimeter of the IRS's main base and not get shot at by the turrets. They then attached this troop carrier to the corvettes that the IRS had stored at that particular space station, and used the troop carrier as a tugboat to tug them into the orbit of the nearby planet, which was Triton. On Triton happened to be the IRS's main base, so the ICP simply directed the corvette so that they would land slap bang on top of the IRS's main base, causing significant amount of damage. And for good measure, and also in the hope it might cause some conflict between the IRS and the NAC, they crashed the troop carrier next to it as a false flag operation. The ICP congratulate themselves on a job well done, then brace themselves for Pirate's wrath, which never came because the IRS didn't even notice their ships had gone. You see, the IRS had inherited similar communication problems from NAC. Not long after this, an end-of-server battle took place between the NAC and the ICP, which was organised between Ran and Viking, who, despite the problems between NAC and ICP, had actually developed a fast friendship. The plan was for each side to bring 4 destroyers, however, because both sides still didn't trust each other very much, each side brought 5, which worked out in everyone's favour. Furthermore, before the battle even began, Ran had acquired a blueprint of the NAC's Angravado class destroyer, and after extensive testing, found so many significant flaws that he actually passed along a page of improvements to Viking. Despite Viking managed to incorporate some of these improvements into the destroyers, the ICP won the battle due to better ships, better tactics, and experience of the NAC's fighting style. The ICP left engineers of Capella to join the Stellar Conquest server. After ICP left, there were a few minor conflicts between NAC and the IRS, but most are not worth bothering about, apart from one where Padme ordered that the ICP members join them in battle as reserve troops. The way he worded it was absolutely atrocious and did ignite some anger from the ICP towards Padme. The NAC remained on the server until it ended in December 2022. Viking, Solaris, and Yoda, members of NAC's High Command, had also set up their own server called Commonwealth Survival RP. This server started on the 10th of the 11th, 2022, and the NAC allowed ICP to play on the server while they underwent a reshuffle before they themselves finally joined the server. The server itself did get off to a bit of a rough start due to problems with the Reavers attacking everyone's bases, as well as some early problems with parallax and the odd bit of rule breaking here and there. Approximately 1 month into Season 1 of Commonwealth, the NAC, despite its reform, underwent a massive schism. Now, this NAC schism is quite interesting in nature. Padme believes that he let Viking, Solaris and Yoda, as well as the High Command, split off. In reality, Viking, Solaris and Yoda had been planning this engineering event so that Padme would let him go and think it was all his idea, when in reality, he was being played. So, Viking, Solaris and Yoda all split off with all the members of the NAC that were loyal to them, which included most of the active High Command and most of the active enlisted, leaving Padme with a faction of just people offline, or just sycophants and loyalists. And considering this is the average NAC player,
Alright, here I come.
it was not good. It's at this point that our timelines are going to split into 2 here. So firstly, we're going to cover the Padme and the NAC, then we're going to circle back to what's happening with Viking, Solaris and Yoda, who became Remnants of the Many, or ROTM. then we'll continue chronologically as best we can. However, to make life easier, I'm going to put in as many gates as I can. So, after this schism, the NAC headed to Production Protocol under the leadership of Padme. On Production Protocol, the NAC set up quite quickly, managed to get a base up, then immediately got wiped from previously being on the server, and their time on server came to a swift end. Now we're going to circle back to Commonwealth and check in with what ROTM were doing. This also featured the return of the IRS in a new form. This new form was ARC, or ARC, a remnant of the IRS led by Silent. However, this remnant of IRS inherited a lot of the problems, with Silent being more toxic and tyrannical than Pyro had ever been, which led to the entire R&D department defecting to ICP on the 2nd of January 2023. ARC declared on Fort Valiant on the 4th of January 2023, and the ICP immediately sprang into action, reinforcing that station. On the 7th of January 2023, ARC attacked with 5 destroyers. However, immediately the tide was turned against them, as they were met with a blizzard of missiles courtesy of the members that had defected to ICP, as all these members were missile specialists. Furthermore, the ICP outnumbered them significantly, as they had brought 6 destroyers, 3 frigates, a medium cruiser, and an entire heavy cruiser. This is not to mention the fact that ICP had extensively fortified Valiant with a lot of artillery. ARC only managed to critically damage the medium cruiser and inflicted light damage on some ships. However, ARC's losses were more extensive, losing 3 destroyers and having 2 critically damaged, and were forced to flee. After this, ARC tried to bulk up its members by absorbing some of the smaller factions, yet only had limited success. They later found an ally in ROTM, yet unbeknownst to them, this was only a proxy alliance to get closer to them to spy on their capability. Furthermore, WTO joined the Commonwealth Discord, and though they never actually played on server much as a faction, some of their members joined under the banner of ARC, one of them being Flare. ROTM did not have a good relationship with Flare, meaning they became even more eager to wipe ARC. Both ICP and ROTM had been building up for war, and soon ICP declared on the ARC space base on the 12th of the 1st, 2023. The battle took place 3 days later, on the 15th of the 1st, 2023. Immediately before the battle, ARC filed a distress call to ROTM, who immediately parked a destroyer at their base and said the rest of their fleet was on its way. Their fleet in question was at the time rendezvousing with the ICP fleet due to their secret alliance. ROTM then declared on ARC, and the destroyer parked in their base immediately opened fire. The ROTM ICP combined fleet immediately then engaged.
Oh, so I'm heading up this entire fleet. Oh god.
Yeah, missiles will be away any second now.
Oh, okay. Align out then, because that'll end very bad for you if you're still there.
Right. Missiles are away.
Yo,
the largest ship.
Align out and accelerate away. Ideally towards us. Oh, hi! I found the rest of our fleet. Completely.
Are you already engaging?
One of us jumped far farther than was intended.
2 of us did. I'm like 2 kilometers in front of the rest of you guys.
Okay, missiles failed to fire.
What?
I'm actually like 800 meters away from all the ICP ships.
Yeah, I know, we can see you.
Target lock is ready.
Alright, I'm telling ARC I'm here to help.
Come on, that's just salt. That's just salt on the wound.
We haven't declared war yet, so I'm gonna be within 800 meters and let the anger battle open up. I'm literally sacrificing this ship.
Oh god.
Honestly, fair
Not
enough.
until I say. Wait until I'm ready. Once we hit the 3-kilometer mark, engage. Because we'll come flying in after they'll turn.
Let us all load in there. Well, actually, no, because as soon as we hit 3K, we should probably do it, because as soon as they see ROTM ships with you guys, they're gonna know what's up. Like,
you're falling behind, folks.
That's because I'm slowing down. I was slowing down intentionally a little bit to let everyone else catch up with me. Right. I'm boosting ahead now. Prepare to start braking.
Right.
We want to try to stay around.
To fall.
Right. Prepare to start braking. As soon as it hit 3.5...
Under me has been constantly trying to slow down.
Right.
I love when I say the rest of the fleet will be here. They have no idea.
I mean, they will be. You're not wrong.
Excalibur, break now. Oh, sorry, Excalibur's break now. We need to start slowing down or we're going to overshoot our target.
Alright, start using
ICP, slow down.
We are nearly at 3 kilometers, get ready.
Yep.
I think
I'm just...
let's see. What can we find? What can we find?
Alright,
ICP
let me know when you guys are at 3K.
We're at 3K.
We are nearly
guys
at 3K.
ready?
We're at 3.2. Give us literally 30 seconds, we'll be there.
Just tell me when and I'll hit declare war. They are not going to be happy when the ship opens up fire.
I'm quickly going to load up the Discord server, ready to watch this shit show unfold in the Discord.
315.
Oh, it's gonna happen.
Are all the ships they have there operational as like valid targets?
Gonna love us all.
Oh no! There's one ship.
Pretend.
There's one ship on fire. Another one highly damaged. It looks like they only have 2 or 3 ships. 2 or 3 ships set up and ready for combat.
ROTM, engage.
That's
Fire at will.
Go.
ROTM Athena engaging.
ICP, slow down a bit.
Armor is engaging.
Moving in. We're at
Get to
2.8.
30.
Soon as ICP ships are in range, missiles fire away. ICP missile destroyers. As soon as your missiles are away, form up on the cruisers. Keep your head pointed at the enemy. Let 400 mils do the rest.
But it's not kicked off just yet.
ICP
Anchor
speed up
Battle's doing a little bit of damage. They probably have no idea what the fuck's going on here.
ICP speed up to 30.
ROTM Athena is at 89.
My missiles are away.
Missiles away.
Right, ICP, move up.
To attack.
30 lock.
Speed up. You're free to
get to 50.
Who's below me? Who's from ROTM below me? Well, they were below me, now they're gone. Oh god. I don't like that.
ICP, get to 50.
Excalibur, Olympian, Corinth. Stay together, speed up, move in.
Moving in. Trying to get a lock.
Viking, you're taking so much fire.
Dude, this thing...
Viking's still alive.
Missiles
The
are
new
out.
updates on the Anger Battles, this thing is all heavy armor. They can do whatever they want to it. It's gonna sit here and laugh.
I can't wait till the Excalibur's getting to find the exact...
We are laughing
the
too.
railgun turrets.
Yeah,
This is the most underhanded thing I've probably done in a while.
I'm just waiting for the crying.
Ever since
on the servers.
Hey, you know what?
They have all their 400s guns working.
No, they've already taken a majority of them out.
Oh. Well, I'm gonna start
2 ships loaded in, 3 ships loaded in for me.
Line, speed up.
Speed up to 60?
Speed up to 50.
Or yeah, 15. So.
We're almost in gun range as soon as we can start seeing.
We are actually in gun range.
I've lost
you
most of
are,
my
I'm not quite.
Most of my 400s are down, my 800s are gone.
You're not
We'll be
having
there
enough fun time by the looks of it.
The sad thing is this thing's going to be able to be repaired after this because they are not doing any damage.
Oh, that
except
looks so
exterior.
Is that the drone?
My game is lagging on.
Get them!
I'm trying not to
ICP
crash
ships,
into any of these
engage at will.
By the way, target the WCO ship first.
My game just shat itself.
There are no WCO ships.
There is a WCO ship.
Alright, slow down.
Oh, silent
Missiles have been launched. We've had a couple miss launches, but I'm coming in for artillery support.
What's the range of the actual 1000mm things?
Holy fucks!
Fuck. Fuck. That's an ICP ship. Do not trust
You launched them.
I have returned with a full load of missiles and I'm firing again.
God. So
Yeah,
Oris
no.
is going to make ARC actually commit to this.
People act like, oh, missile ships, like, oh, I can't use welders. I have a welder in my hand.
And it's all small, brilliant. Other than missiles.
Right.
I'm looking back in after my M crashed.
I'm gonna focus.
I'm just gonna shoot that thing that says WCO since, by God, I cannot tell who is who. Who is that just got detonated? That was an anger battle, wasn't it?
Shit.
Yeah, alright, Valkyrie's Fury is not having a fun time. They have finally opened fire.
What the frick am I locking?
I'm gonna focus the 160 ship flame.
Silence just put, so this is how they play it, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
And
then
he's just
you'll
changed his
flash
alliance
fuck off.
status. It's top the alliance status.
Fuck off.
Everything.
Oof.
This is Admiral Ranaghast of the RTO ICP Coalition Fleet. ARC is ordered to surrender
My
all
missiles are
nine.
away. I repeat, my
Fuck
missiles
off.
are firing.
They are in your TFP, that's alright.
Oh, 69.
You have been found guilty of what?
I'm
Oh,
firing
shit,
at
no.
that big ship near the asteroid.
They've been found guilty of having flare on their team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically what screwed up the alliance for them. They took in that.
Cred.
Oh, I should have piloted the Hussar, then I could do the funny meme.
Ah, yes.
The Excalibur
You've been
behind
found
me
guilty of having
kept
flare.
the tower.
Holy fucks.
God, I cannot lock if I
Alright,
want to. This is incredible.
What's the
Finally.
I've got like 9 missiles heading at them right now.
Just fucking scared the shit out of them.
Do they just have a projected WCO ship sitting here? No, it's an actual WCO ship. Okay.
Alright,
Yeah, I
anger
launched
battle's out of
the vast
out of
majority of my
battle.
missiles at that.
Yoda, they lied
What?
to you. They weren't spawning destroyers. That's the WCO battlecruiser. I know for a fact they didn't have time to build it.
It looks like now.
So yeah.
One of the ships is trying to run away. Shoot it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing.
But yeah, that WCO ship, don't let it escape. Burn to the ground.
Exactly.
I'm not. Athena is pursuing.
Higher.
They jumped, they jumped, they jumped.
Oh, that big boy is moving.
Not for long. It's got 9 missiles on the way to it.
I'm pursuing the...
I can't do math. Oh.
I already loaded my volley into that dude. He is probably not doing too hot.
I'm actually taking hits.
Hey, that guitar-looking thing is enemy, right?
Yes.
Alright.
We just don't know what exactly the thing is.
Yeah. There's so much space trash flying everywhere
These
that's...
renders.
Alright.
I really
Oh,
hope that
Jesus, the
the...
missiles
Ark
hit.
has surrendered. Ark surrendered.
Really?
Wait.
Yeah.
They surrendered. Look at Discord.
Oh, come on.
Alright, we should probably stop ripping into their stuff then and honor it.
Decision I expected. No, don't stop ripping into them. If they they have to stop shooting us.
I'm
enough.
in pursuit of the fleeing ship, by the way.
Did that big thing manage to jump away?
Yes, it did. I watched it. I fired upon it as it jumped.
A few of my missiles hit it before it got away, but not all of them.
Did they not spawn that in?
They did. Illegally.
We're not currently accepting surrenders. God, Randa's just being Admiral Thrawn right now.
That's me on the Excalibur. If you want to look at the Excalibur, that's me. I don't accept rocks.
So, do I continue pursuing or no?
No reason not to, clearly.
Ooh, I don't like the tone of the voice.
Which tone?
Okay, So the war is officially over.
All ships wreck.
That was a short battle.
Dude.
Bro, they must
That
have
was a
shit
short battle.
pants when they saw all those ships roll up.
Okay, so
They
one
must
of
have shit their pants when I unloaded with a fucking Angravadal.
So,
a lot of times where they're
Angry
probably
battle.
shitting their pants.
Is
I'm
this
gonna
what-
trans.
I don't accept Sark's surrender.
Same.
That's true, you can just not
Flair's
accept
salty.
Flair is salty. Flair would have done the same, but once it happens to him, it's a
Oh
whole
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, you fucking hate when it happens to him.
We
getting
just got
a call.
we just got a rep drop with ARC. That means they're probably grinding something. So
What's how much one do you bet that this isn't going into their YouTube video?
Fuck.
well, here's the best
Fox,
part.
one
It's not going into their video, but it's going into ours.
Exactly.
Fox, one question.
Yes.
Do I continue pursuing or?
Oh yeah, blow
Yeah,
any
continue
shit.
pursuing, because if that thing turns around,
Yeah,
if that thing turns around and tries to attack us, we're fucked.
They've got
Yeah, sure.
something over there to the left.
I
Yeah,
don't know
Rabbit.
if we
Sorry,
beat
there's
Fox.
something over there to the left-hand side.
I've heard the ship is good, but I don't know if it's.
Oh, you guys are gonna be
Kind of
very
risky.
happy. Since they're surrendering, I guess I should transfer the base into our name, right?
Yes, you should.
Uh,
Yeah, that's the rules.
ISP's saying something about grounding their base.
Yeah, that's
And
why
I
it's gonna be in our name.
Yup.
Alright, let's see what we got today, boys!
It's a case
Oh.
opening.
It's time to go shopping.
12 million iron, how I love it.
Unboxing video of the
Wow.
enemy's base.
Alright,
Lag is so
Once-
bad. I missed my target by so far.
I'm just
Once
like the
lag is
turret's
so-
auto fire.
Bro, this is not lag. This is just a PowerPoint, guys. How do you like my PowerPoint?
Yeah, I mean.
Guys,
Power,
you know,
power.
does anyone remember the no hydrogen base meme that Silent gets so pressed about?
Yeah.
I think it's time for that to come back out.
Oh! He's turning around. Let's go. I'm gonna get him.
No, come back. If it's turning
Oh,
around,
come
back.
on.
That's a cruiser.
I don't care. I wanna ram it.
You die. If it turns around, you die.
I wanna
Dollar,
ram
I'm
It's got
returning
more
the
weapons than Excalibur.
This thing doesn't turn around. Turn around.
I'm just sitting in spectator watching because the Angravadal is most of the debris floating around right now.
Alright,
Wait, what is that gray? Is that ship active?
Can we warm up this fleet around the base after we're done and take some screenshots just for, you know, that extra salt?
Yes,
If anyone who isn't participating wants to watch, I have a decent view of the entire battle right now.
Rana.
What's he done?
They posted a meme!
Christ. Oh, guys, it's good we did this. ARC was planning on betraying us, so.
I'm blind jumping.
Rana, you got Rana, post it again and at silent. Post it again and at silent, please.
Yes, please, please.
Post it again and at silent.
Again,
Where did he post it?
General.
Well, Fox, I engaged it, by the way. So.
No balls. No Welch.
No Welch. That's just BM at this point, guys. Come on.
They would have done the same thing if they won.
Blind
Yep.
jump.
So you're just launching tiny ass missiles in
Alright.
No battle cruiser. Are you just making memes? Who the fuck is making all these memes?
That would be
already.
Rana, probably.
There's no way.
One of their ships is still active, you know. It's like
Yeah, we should probably focus
Then
the ship that is
unactivate
currently
it.
active.
Then
What's that?
unactive it.
Victory.
because it's fucking shooting me up.
Okay, can we declare on all the little chunks that they've got scattered about the place now?
Don't worry,
bet they
that's
haven't
mostly
moved
my
them.
ship.
Is that the little fighter that's
My ship.
the active thing?
All ICP vessels, keep firing until you exhaust your ammunition.
Don't worry, I'm pretty sure the space has
Finally.
magnesium in it that we're gonna be splitting.
Well, I fled the fight with the battle cruiser because it was
The drones are still going.
They have a battle cruiser, which we can then just say, oh well, 5 cruisers, and then make it.
Yeah, well, the big battle cruiser I was chasing.
I have a
was-
projector on. Oh, that's why.
Yeah, I did
Yo,
some damage. I did some damage.
If someone, okay, Viking, if you can turn off their projectors, that would be very cool.
Yeah. It's lag.
Ooh! Ooh! Admin abuse investigation.
I mean, it's true.
Always.
Ship
This
is
hurts.
currently firing back.
What the hell are you talking about? It's practically.
Wait,
We're
where
doing
is
no
this
action one.
blueprint?
And why is the Cuirassier in the front of all the heavily armed ships, just doing its thing?
Yes.
The Corvette is taking the lead and is getting the damage dealt to it. What in the world?
I'm making a charge with the Excalibur. I'm going to put myself right in
I'll
the
be
middle
honest,
of.
yeah. I'm
It's safe
rallying
to jump
to
in the
part
Panther
two,
yet. This
yeah.
thing has literally no guns, but is
Oh,
the area
this
clear?
ship is just non-existent.
Yeah,
on
that's
that
still-
cruiser.
that's
No,
still-
the area is not
But-
clear. It's still a
That's still-
hellhole down
no,
here.
no, I know
Yeah,
that.
I'm
but
still
I
seeing
literally
shots
tried-
land on
tried-
friendly
yeah.
vessels.
Yeah, this ship is right here.
Well, Halo's
I hope
about
you
to
can't
start
see it.
engaging as well.
You know,
So, yeah, the-
Yoda, you said there's a blueprint open, but I can't see shit.
That's because we
I
destroyed it.
definitely
Where's
see.
where's
a
their
projection.
ship? I have a full rack of missiles ready.
Wait,
but I can't
is
see
that
it.
the fight?
Also, don't actually delete the projector itself. We
You
can
don't need to
steal
waste
the.
missiles on this shit.
We can. Okay, wait. By the way, guys, don't act. If you see a projector, don't delete it. Keep it
We
so
can
we
steal
can.
the blueprint.
We can steal the blueprint. Yeah.
By the way, Gray is pretty much down. And the base.
Oh, I am
Right, this
opening
final
fire.
So again, is
Yeah,
the Gray active?
Yeah, Gray is still active.
I have put a lot of rounds into the Grey. I'm surprised there's
Halo's
anything left.
opening fire. Opening fire on Gray.
Yep, I'm moving towards the Gray as well.
How did you guys not see him?
I saw him for a bit, he just wasn't moving or shooting anyone, so I was like, okay, there's no problem here. Oh, he's got some turrets left, yeah. We should help him slim down on PCU.
I damaged a bit the bell.
Oh, come on then, let's see what silent, what's the flatter they put going to a base near you. When a PvP drunker is raiding your base.
Hey, whoever's
Whoever's next to the Panther, you're about to get a light show.
if we're ceasing fire, I need somebody to delete the drones.
Okay,
I consider
full rack
it
of
as
missiles
a
away on the Gray.
for fucking WC are destroying my cruiser.
Well, I'm out of ammunition. Uh-oh.
If you're out of ammo, return to Alpha.
Well, okay, one of my guns is out of ammunition.
Oh, you know, the one gun. Nah. What the fuck?
I can't hear you, Viking! Over the sound of 400mm guns!
Yoda, do you see my missiles passing by you?
It's like fucking having artillery come down range, isn't it?
Hydrogen
It's
tank
fucking-
exploded.
Oh, he's gonna be in for an even worse day. Just tracking my missiles. I'm using this as a combat test. Oh, okay, made it back.
Ooh, record that last 1 minute. I need that. That is mine.
Hey guys, the server went from running at 0.03 to running at 0.1. Good job.
Yeah, good
It
job.
hasn't crashed, so we're good.
It's even slower now. I can still see that motherfucker.
It's simply an advanced stress test.
So wait, what are your guys' thoughts on turning this base we stole into an alliance factory?
We can do
That would be funny.
Yes, the ultimate spiteful.
Or like what do you call it? Like a NATO headquarters, basically.
You know, it's great. I'm inside the base watching the light show, and it keeps lighting up the background for some reason.
That's a very cool welder roll. It would be a shame if something were to happen to it.
I'm gonna go ram it with the Excalibur. I'm gonna go ram it with the Excalibur.
Let me ram it. Fox, no.
My ship's bigger, let me do it.
That's my job.
Are you guys liking the fireworks from the drones?
Too late, I'm gonna ram.
Oh, they're very nice, mate.
I'm gonna ram great. I don't care.
Like fireworks.
I'm doing full speed.
Right?
I am unsure what is what. I just know that the enemies are exploding very rapidly.
Yeah.
Alright, well, while you guys do that, I'm gonna tally up and see what everyone's getting out of this.
Fox, you're not stopping me. I'm ramming great.
Am I 400s out of ammo?
Oh, my ship just despawned and I don't know why.
Wait a second, I have an idea. It's a stupid idea, but it's an idea.
Which is?
400s out of ammo.
It's very simple, really. I'm going to grab a gun, and I'm going to go over to their ships personally, and we're going to, delete all their guns first by using rocket launchers, and then I can't think, because it's so loud. But, we blow up all the different, like, stuff.
Holy fucks.
You didn't tell us twice.
Right, and then we're gonna just grind it down and get resources from the ships, because that ship that you're shooting at right now, it's very dead.
Yeah, we know.
I think all of our ships are very dead.
Fox, I'm coming in.
Now it's even more dead. There's a big poof.
Alright,
Holy fucks.
Keep an eye out for WCO ships.
what are they gonna do?
Yeah, exactly.
They could fire their missiles.
Oh,
Deep.
God. Game die.
I'm sorry.
It's really beautiful to fly through in spectator cam.
That may have been my fault.
That's funny.
What did you do?
I rammed Grey.
Yoda,
Oh my god.
Yoda, there's that stress test you wanted.
Yeah. It could have went better.
Could have gone worse.
Is ramming gonna
crash?
It hasn't crashed yet, but it's chugging.
Is
There we
ramming
go.
still around?
Don't ram, don't take the server.
Do not ram, please, because
Too late.
I'm
Too late, I
watching
can't slow
this
down, son.
from the I'm watching this from the base, and it's a very different view. Oh god.
yeah, don't ram
There
because
it goes.
that's yeah.
There we are, okay.
RTM ICP combined taking out several destroyers, razing their base and wiping R completely off the server.
Doctor, you think this is over? Yeah. Your bomb's gone, your plan's finished. And look, there's unit on the way to close your head office. It's almost like they've been tipped off. The vengeance of Harmony Soul is known and feared throughout the 5-star systems. Ooh, is it? Is it really?
Now, there was not much conflict after this at all until the very final battle of Season 1, where everyone just brought what they had, which was basically 5 destroyers on each side to make it fair. However, each side when they showed up for the battle only had 3 players and left the other 2 destroyers in reserve. The rough plan between the ICP and RTM was simple. Kill Ark, then shoot each other in the back when the other wasn't looking. Ark's plan was very simple.
Kill them.
However, midway through the battle, ICP spotted Ark's 2 reserve destroyers with antennas on full range parts of a nearby asteroid. So they proceeded to jump over them and blew out the engines and some of the turrets, making them useless. They then busied themselves with destroying the other Ark ships, at which point RTM promptly turned on them and won the battle. Ark soon discovered what had happened to their destroyers and said this was blatant cheating then proceeded to spawn in a cruiser to go and get revenge on the ICP. ICP and RTM immediately responded by spawning in heavy cruisers and chasing Ark down, and this proceeded to escalate until the server crashed due to all the big ships crashing into each other. And that was the end of Commonwealth Season 1, which ended on the 24th of the 2nd, 2023. Now we're going to circle back and quickly check in on what the NAC were doing at this particular point. Padme set up a solely RP PvP based server called Andromeda on the 1st of the 12th, 2022, where factions would train against each other with their own fleets, which would be spawned in by each side, who were each given an admin temporarily to spawn their ships in. Now, this on the surface was a very good idea, as there's just conflict, there's just training, there's battling, and everyone's happy. As conflict drives story, it drives servers, and drives activity. However, it was certain conditions that Padme wished to enforce that drove several factions away. One example is the reasoning the ICP did not engage with this server. Padme had given links within the server to various workshop fleets that were all ready for combat. When the ICP expressed interest in mixing and matching these fleets as well as adding in ships from their own fleet, they were met with a blanket no from Padme, as he considered it unrealistic and insisted that they only use ships from their specific fleet. He compared it to combining Star Wars and Star Trek ships. However, the ICP thought this was ridiculous, as in real life, NATO does operate a combined fleet from various other nations, as well as UK and the US also have joint fleet exercises. Furthermore, in the Expanse, they have the UNMCR combined fleet, yet Padme, despite these perfectly reasonable examples, was adamant. Therefore, the ICP refused to join. Now, despite the trouble with Andromeda, some factions did enjoy playing it, it worked for a time, but eventually it came to an end due to Padme's IRL commitments and for server stability. I don't have an exact date of when this server went offline, but I think it was probably around the end of December, as World of War came online on the 14th of the 1st, 2023. But before we cover World of War, we're going to circle back to what RTM were doing at this particular time. Yoda and RTM were preparing for the start of Season 2 of Commonwealth, which began on March the 22nd, 2023. RTM and ICP planned to basically build up and go to war with each other as soon as the server started. However, with rumours afoot of Pyro returning to reform the IRS, they decided to enter into a temporary alliance in case these rumours proved true. Furthermore, Silent, the head of ARC, incited RTM almost immediately on server, leading to Silent getting his admin removed. 1 week after this, on the 29th of the 3rd, 2023, ARC flew 5 frigates unlawfully into the vicinity of RTM's lunar base 1 hour before their battle was due to start. It was also 5 ARC members versus only 2 RTM members. Furthermore, the ARC frigates were fitted with a higher caliber of weapons that frigates were allowed on server, so was also breaking server rules. The ROTM bravely defended their base, but were soon overwhelmed with all their forces destroyed. Yet they did leave ARC with a bloody nose, as one of their frigates was completely destroyed, 3 crippled, and 1 fled with only minor damage. Unfortunately, there was not much conflict after this, due to the fact that there were still numerous technical problems, various lagging, as well as the fact that Kina pushed out a brand new update with a lot of bugs and various other technical problems, which only inflamed the situation. There was the odd skirmish here and there, but nothing really worth mentioning. However, this was due to change on the 8th of the 4th, 2023, when Pyro and the IRS did indeed return and merged ARC into it. The ICP and the RTM immediately mobilised their fleets, however they were only very small fleets due to the fact that there was a giant lack of activity because of the frequent technical problems. However, the winds were soon to change in their favour, as RTM discovered an IRS space station where there was a new dreadnought and a new destroyer being printed. The RTM promptly called the ICP, who soon arrived. There was then a dilemma as to how to take the base. You see, server rules dictate that all bases with an active antenna must be declared on, and then 3 hours later, or at a set time decided by both factions, the battle will commence. So how best to take the base without IRS knowing? However, the IRS had left most of the base on share with all, apart from the antenna and the medical room. Furthermore, there were actually no turrets fitted to the base, whatsoever, which was a big oversight. However, ICP had a brainwave. They immediately accessed the station, turned off all batteries and all reactors on the said station. Immediately, the station lost power. There was no active antenna, meaning the base could be taken. The ROTM was suitably impressed with this, and they took control of the base and moved it to their space station, where they ground it down and proceeded to split the resources 50-50 with ICP. The IRS, who were planning to attack ROTM from this base, soon woke up, found the base vanished, assumed that the grid cleanup systems on the server had got it and it was another technical issue. Now, the IRS soon left the server. They played on Galactic Conquest RP for a time, before eventually leaving to go and play on Endless Endeavour, which Pyro ran. The rest of the members scattered to the wind, though Silent grabbed a few and restarted Ark as KDI, and some of them went to Empire Spadolia under Lord Bed. ICP, meanwhile, left Commonwealth Survival and went on to Stellar Conquest, while ROTM stayed on the server to maintain it and prep for Season 3, as well as fix all the technical problems. And now we'll return to what Padme was doing with NAC. Padme set up the World of War PvP server on the 14th of the 1st, 2023. This was a Watermod PvP server solely for PC servers, which did serve to alienate a lot of the NAC community, as they were all predominantly played on Xbox or console. This massive lack of player base served to cause havoc for the servers, as there were only a few members on to go and do the work on server, like building warships, such as Pyro and Kirk. Due to Padme's aggressive recruiting for the server, some Reddit drama was caused, as when Padme posted an NAC advertisement, an ICP member commented and posted a Discord link. Padme was enraged and messaged Admiral Ran of the ICP to get the message removed. Ran thought the situation hilarious and asked to remember to remove it. 2 days later, when the post was still up, Padme messaged again with the threat of a surfer raid and inflaming the drama.
I'm getting demands from
NAC.
Mark.
Padme was
insisting that he take control of the situation.
You can tell the President, and please use these exact words. He's not my boss, and he's certainly not turning this into a war.
Ran knew this threat was empty, and was just Padme grasping at straws, and then pointed out that Reddit was a free forum to post what they want, and if the NAC wanted to do that, they were free to do so. As for the server raid, he told them to bring it, knowing the NAC barely had any members to do it, and the whole threat was meaningless. Padme realised she had no legs to stand on, and went to Grand Emerald X, who forced the member to remove the post. Furthermore, leadership problems got so bad that Padme began drafting members of ICP, such as James and Dex, for high command roles when they joined as diplomats. They did intend to play on the server on occasion, but they soon left as soon as they realised what was going on, as they had not asked for command positions in NAC. Eventually, Kirk got annoyed at the lack of help and left, and Pyro had to leave for Air Force duties and wasn't online as much as he could be. Padme's lack of activity finally contributed to an NAC implosion, and the entire faction proceeded to collapse. This was due to Padme's skills relying on life support from Pyro, Kirk, and other members. As for the World at War server, it went offline due to Pyro not paying the server fees, and was down by the 23rd of the 4th, 2023. Now this is the official death of the NAC. As for all its implosions, reshuffles over the years, this is where Padme finally decided to end it for good. The NAC was dead and buried. Well, that concludes it for the NAC. They are well and truly finally buried. Its splinter groups, Ark, now KDI, is still around and basically is taking up the mantle of IRS. Pyro's still around and some of the IRS members are still around, but they've basically been reabsorbed into other factions. So the IRS is basically gone. ROTM, consisting still of Viking, Yoda and Solaris, is still very much around and is on Commonwealth Survival still. Padme left to go and run the server Endless Endeavour, which he had started doing while World of War was still active. Padme didn't actually run a faction on the server, but simply presided as admin, with Pyro actually running the server. Furthermore, on the 13th of the 7th, 2023, Commonwealth Survival the Xbox server ran by Viking and Yoda announced a partnership with Endless Endeavor, as Endless Endeavor was going PC only. Therefore, the Xbox players from Endless Endeavor would move to Commonwealth. A week after this, on the 20th, Padme was officially fired as admin, due to passing rules that benefited him or certain favoured players on the server, and due to lack of activity, as well as some admin abuse. That's all we're going to cover on Endless Endeavor for now. Now, before we come to my final thoughts, during the interview, Padme requested that I put this message in the documentary at the end to the NAC members.
Alright, quick note to all former members of the NAC. Thank you guys for your time, thank you guys for your effort and all that you guys have done. You guys have made it like a blast. And yeah, Bravo Zulu to all you guys. Thank you.
So now we're going to actually take a few moments to discuss why NAC failed so spectacularly. Basically, the short and the long answer is Padme. However, unlike Shayna, it's not down to being simply evil. It's a lot of the time just his sheer incompetence and being set in his ways, as well as the fact that NAC was kind of the poster faction for Xbox servers and console servers in general, and I'll get to that in a second. First, we're going to cover Padme. So the first thing is Padme was away a lot of the time because of cadets, in-life commitments, and being restricted on space engineers because of his parents. Because of this, he had to constantly appoint deputies to run things such as Pyro, Drift, and Viking, and go on leave of absences. When the deputies ran the NAC, generally it did well, it went smoothly, and kind of went okay. It was generally when Padme returned and took back control, he had different ways of running things to the way the others were, and probably didn't like the fact that the deputies had become more popular than him at running things, such as what happened with Viking and with Pyro. And also, the lack of context with what was going on further, and things going haywire because of lack of knowledge. These are problems that I've encountered when running ICP, when Dex sometimes came back and said, we should do XYZ, and I was just like, we can't do XYZ because we need to do these things first so we can do them. I was running this fine, can you please just wait until we can do XYZ? And generally, depending on where I worded it, Dex would generally agree and say, oh yeah, but we can do this thing, and we would up just like, yes, that's a good idea, we do this thing as well. With Padme, it was very much, no, we are doing XYZ now. He was very set in his way, which brings us on to the next point of Padme being so set in his ways and wanting very specific things. It's not generally problematic until it is. He likes things done a certain way and doesn't like being in a position where he can't make those changes. He's a bit of a control freak, and this is evidenced by the fact that on a lot of the servers he went to, he pushed to get himself to an admin position, which, to be fair, I get. In the early days, NAC got offlined or destroyed as soon as they set up, so wanting admin to keep owners and other factions in line does make sense from that perspective. The trouble is always lack of objectivity, and one server owner can't keep an eye on 10 admins, so Padme couldn't always get an admin position and would always push for it. And this just highlights how much of a control freak he really could be. I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying it wasn't ideal in the circumstances. A further example is the problems with Andromeda that ICP highlighted, so if you want to just quickly skip back and watch that again if you've forgotten, because I'm aware it's a long video. Okay, on to the next thing. NAC being the poster faction. Like, they weren't quite the poster faction, but it's the fact that every time you went on Reddit, there they were. First in line for Xbox players, and generally, anyone wanted a faction, there they were. So all the new players got sucked into the NAC and got sucked into the drama. Now, if they kept up with training and basically reinforced chain of command a little more, then it would have been okay. But basically, you had a lot of new players and cadets being trained a certain way under Pyro or Viking or Drift, and then being shifted under Padme because he refused to take certain changes on board or implement, or because he simply didn't know that Pyro had made the change because of the communication difficulty. This meant that players would become alienated from the command structure, and when the person they preferred wasn't in command, they would either leave for another faction, fall inactive, and get kicked, or only be active when the person they liked was in power. Yet, to be fair, this aggressive recruitment and constantly shifting player base did help NAC stay alive, but it was really just a band-aid on the wound and really didn't help matters. Finally, Padme as a person. I'm aware the past 3 points have all pointed to Padme's incompetence. Padme, despite its flaws, is a good person, and most of the High Command that left NAC left on good terms and still talked to Padme. Yes, Padme did show a lot of ignorance and incompetence, yet sometimes that was out of his control. Not always, but sometimes. Furthermore, when you ask him to reflect on certain events, he does have a massive bias towards himself. Case in point, ROTM leaving, when Padme said it was all his idea, when it blatantly wasn't. He did prove he could be a capable leader, as he did leave Terran Empire's ground division in the early days. He led NAC on Andromeda, Frontlines and Ascendant, where they generally did well. Overall, Padme would serve as a backup officer who can be there to keep an eye on things and run things smoothly, providing he knows the status quo and knows exactly what he's doing. But he doesn't do well as a leader or an administrator at all. I think if he had given overall faction command to someone more permanent, rather than giving command away and yanking it back constantly a few weeks later, then I think NAC would have performed a lot better. Yet Padme chose to do it his way, and so the NAC ended his way.
And now the end is here, and so I face the final station. My friend, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case to my NAC nation. I have lived a life that's full, I've traveled each and every Sabbath, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a lot, but then again, too much to mention. I did what I had to do, I saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the server, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out. I faced it all, and I stood tall and did it my way. I've loved, I've laughed, I've cried, I've had my fill, my share of losing, and now as tears subside, I find it all so amusing to think I did all that, and may I say, not in a shy way. Oh no, not me. I did it my way. For what is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not